Vikings are in a bit of a dilemma, a quarterback controversy, and all things considered, it's a good problem to have. But before I talk about that, I want to start with this. It's something I should have spoke on yesterday, but I was so caught up in the hype of yesterday's win that it just went completely over my head. But I want to be sure to address it now. Culture. Hashtag culture. A bit corny at times. I feel it's overused, but it really exemplifies itself in not just day-to-day operations, but also dire situations, emergencies. If you think about what the Vikings have gone through over the last week and some change, they lost their starting quarterback while dominating the Green Bay Packers. They lost their starting quarterback, Kirk Cousins, for the rest of the year. They then shift to say we need to get our rookie quarterback prepped up as much as possible for his first career start. We also traded for Josh Dobbs to give us options in case Hall doesn't work out. But Jaren Hall, he's going to play the whole game. Absolutely. Against the Atlanta Falcons, there's nothing to talk about. All of a sudden, he gets hurt towards the end of the second drive. Oh my God. Talk about emergencies. Dire situations, you're in it right now. And we talk about Josh Dobbs not really having a full grasp on the playbook. They just traded for him at the trade deadline. He's been with the team for less than a week. If you go back and watch the Netflix docuseries Quarterback, there was a scene where Kirk Cousins was in his, I think he has a Ford Expedition, it doesn't matter. He was in his vehicle studying the playbook, talking about stuff like baby stroller, 22, Fig Newton, Zig right. And I was just like, oh my God, I don't even play football, but I'm stressed out hearing that. That's just one play. You need to be cognizant. You need to know everything that's going on with about 50 to 75 different versions of that. Oh, goodness gracious. That's what Josh Dobbs was having to learn, not just in the limited time being with the team, but also on the fly. That's a tough situation to be in. But hashtag culture, man. This is where this stuff matters. I saw a tweet by Alec Lewis of The Athletic. He covers the Minnesota Vikings. He tweeted out, "Unbelievable. Josh Dobbs said that Vikings head coach Kevin O'Connell was essentially translating calls and mapping out plays mid-huddle as the play clock was ticking down. KOC called Dobbs' ability to handle it all one of the most impressive things he'd seen in his career." On top of that, I saw a video where Dobbs was working on the sideline with the offensive line while the defense was on the field, specifically working with Bradbury on the snaps, delivering his cadence style. Okay, this is how I sound when I want the ball snapped. And then also, I think I saw somewhere else where Dobbs mentioned at times, even when KOC trying to explain the process mid-huddle, when he wouldn't fully grasp it, he would talk to his receivers and say, okay, what do I have going on this side of the line of scrimmage? And they would basically respond with stuff like, okay, I'm running this route, a post, or I'm running a drag here on the right-hand side. And everybody was working together. We didn't ask to be in this situation. We did not prepare for this to be a possibility at all. But we got thrown into the fire. We need to make the best of this in order to be as successful as we can. That is hashtag culture. Credit, shout out to head coach Kevin O'Connell for making that happen, for getting all 53 men on the roster to buy into what it is that you're selling. It means you're a damn good leader. And you look at that, you compare that situation to all the stories that are coming out from the Vegas Raiders, it's like night and day. Those players couldn't stand Josh McDaniels. We've all been in situations to where we've had crappy jobs with crappy managers to where you just got to grit and bear it. As soon as you pull up into the parking lot, you take a deep breath and go, whew, okay, for the next 8 to 10 hours, we're not living, we're just surviving in order to get home and decompress, to watch Netflix or have a glass of wine. Whatever it is that we need to do, we're just going to make it happen. It's just all about me individually. But hopefully we've also had, I certainly had at one point, a damn good manager that was genuinely interested in my family. How's your wife doing? How are your kids doing? What can I do to help you? What resources can I provide? It's night and day compared to the crappy job where you have a manager who's a soulless robot. It makes a difference to where with that good manager, I want to do all I can. It's not just about me anymore. It's about the team. Our success is my success. Shout out to Kevin O'Connell. That culture was a big part of why the Vikings won that game yesterday. Shout out to Kevin O'Connell. But now, the topic at hand, the quarterback controversy. Dobbs versus Hall. This will no doubt ignite a divide. It probably already started yesterday, but a divide in Vikings Nation as far as what quarterback do you take between the two. And I think it's kind of healthy because it at least gives the Vikings options to work with. But in this debate, the Vikings, they're going to make whatever decision that they're going to make. But in this debate, we're talking about the known versus the unknown. I want to start with Jaren Hall. This is a rookie quarterback. We don't know what his ceiling is, but what I do know is what I saw yesterday before he got hurt. In that second drive, an absolute wizard with the football, throwing darts accurate as hell, damn near leading the Vikings to a touchdown before going down. There was enough there. There was too much there. The man was sensational. There was too much there to see to simply dismiss that and say, we're good. Now, obviously, he needs to be healthy. He's going to go through concussion protocol. But there's no way you can look at that and say, nah, that's okay. Nothing to see here. There's still an unknown with him. We don't know his ceiling. Versus Josh Dobbs, the known. We know who he is. And before I get into that, I want to give, as far as divvying up the credit for yesterday's win, just off the top of my head, I'm going to give 50% to the defense for getting timely stops and turnovers. And the other 50%, I think it's a 25% share rate between KOC and Josh Dobbs. KOC for his communication, but also Josh Dobbs for executing. He did a damn good job. What Dobbs did yesterday showed heart, showed guts, showed fight. With that said, we know who he is. Josh Dobbs is Gardner Minshew. He's Taylor Heineke. If you have to rely on him for a couple of games, he can be pretty good. He's going to give your team a fighting chance to win the game. At the very least, you're going to be competitive, damn it. That's what Josh Dobbs provides. I think his ceiling is a backup quarterback. He got the win, the big win against the Atlanta Falcons yesterday, but even going back to his days with the Arizona Cardinals this year, he, Josh Dobbs, also led his team to victory to a big win against the Dallas Cowboys. He can give you that from time to time. But relying on that consistently from Dobbs, it gets, the more you have to rely on him to get win after win after win, the more dicey that it gets. Since April of 2022, last year, Josh Dobbs, now with the Vikings, he is on his 6th team. Since being drafted in 2017, Josh Dobbs is now on his 9th team, including 2 different stints with the Cleveland Browns and the Pittsburgh Steelers. 9 teams since being drafted. And I promise it's not because those teams were all just completely oblivious to the greatness of Josh Dobbs. He's a journeyman for a reason. We talk about the struggles of the Vikings not early on, for much of this season, turning the football over. You're not going to win many games if you turn the football over, right? Josh Dobbs, the last 2 seasons, when he's gotten significant play time with the Tennessee Titans, the Arizona Cardinals, and the Minnesota Vikings yesterday, 11 games, 10 starts. He didn't start the game yesterday. That was Jaren Hall, but he played basically the entire game. So 11 games. Josh Dobbs, 12 touchdowns to 7 interceptions. He also ran for 4 scores. Also had 15 fumbles, 7 recovered, 8 turned over. So that essentially translates to 16 scores and 15 turnovers in 11 games. Josh Dobbs, he is who he is. He's a good backup quarterback, but you don't want to rely on him for the long term. You still have 8 games to go. Known versus the unknown. Jaren Hall has to be the guy, in my humble opinion. The Vikings, they're going to do whatever it is that they're going to do. If I had to guess, it's so murky with Hall right now and being in concussion protocol, and you see how the team rallied around. I'm sure they would have done the same for Hall too if he stayed healthy and they still won that game. But you see how they rallied around him. I would guess that if I had to bet money on it, Josh Dobbs would start next Sunday against the Saints. But if healthy, I think you have to at least make sure you're doing your due diligence to make sure that you know everything that you have in this guy. So leave your thoughts in the comments section below. Jaren Hall, Josh Dobbs, what say you?